Imagine waking up tomorrow to discover that an entire military unit, 2,000 soldiers with tanks, artillery, and equipment, had completely disappeared overnight. No bodies, no survivors, no explanation. This isn't science fiction. This is the haunting reality of what happened to the 106th Infantry Battalion during the brutal winter of 1944. What you're about to learn has been obscured by military classifications and forgotten by time until now. History books have failed to tell you the complete truth about the Battle of the Bulge. While most accounts focus on the heroic stand at Bastogne, few mention the 106th Battalion, a unit that essentially disappeared from military records almost overnight. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on one of World War II's most perplexing mysteries. The story begins on December 16, 1944, when Hitler launched his desperate Ardennes offensive. The 106th Infantry Battalion had arrived at the front just 5 days earlier, positioned along the densely forested Schnee-Eifel region. Military planners considered this sector quiet, perfect for green troops. This fateful decision would soon prove catastrophically wrong. The 106th was positioned in what strategists call a salient, a bulge protruding into enemy territory, vulnerable to attack from three sides. When the German assault began in pre-dawn darkness, the battalion found itself completely surrounded within hours. Communications were severed, supply lines cut, and reinforcements unable to break through. The last confirmed radio transmission from the 106th came at 4:18 a.m. on December 17th. Heavy artillery fire. Enemy armor spotted on 3 fronts. Request immediate. The transmission ended mid-sentence when Allied forces recaptured the area in February 1945. They found abandoned equipment, empty foxholes, and shell casings, but virtually no human remains. Over 2,000 men had seemingly vanished. Only 16 members of the 106th managed to escape and rejoin Allied lines. Their testimonies, many sealed until 1998, describe chaos and bizarre circumstances. Staff Sergeant William Harrison reported, "The shelling stopped suddenly. Then this strange fog rolled in, thicker than anything I'd ever seen. When it lifted hours later, there was nobody. Not ours, not theirs. Just empty forest." What makes this disappearance even more baffling is that German records contain no mention of capturing an entire American battalion. POW logs account for only 121 men from the 106th. The Red Cross never registered the others, and no mass graves were ever discovered, despite exhaustive searches. Some historians propose the battalion was sent to unregistered labor camps, their identities erased. Others suggest they were victims of an experimental weapon test. Recently declassified documents hint at something more disturbing: the possibility that some units may have surrendered and been executed, an atrocity deliberately covered up to maintain wartime morale. The families of these missing men never received proper closure. Most were simply sent telegrams stating their loved ones were missing in action, a status many retain to this day. The Pentagon established an investigative commission in 1952, but their findings remain partially classified. The disappearance of the 106th represents one of the largest single losses of American military personnel whose fate remains undetermined. Their story forces us to confront uncomfortable realities about war, how easily men can vanish from history, how imperfectly we document our conflicts, and how many questions remain unanswered despite our best efforts. If this account of the forgotten 106th Battalion has opened your eyes to a side of World War II history you never knew existed, you're not alone. Hit subscribe now and turn on notifications for our upcoming video on the mysterious Ghost Army that fooled Hitler with inflatable tanks. Share this with the history buff in your life who thinks they know everything about World War II. I guarantee they haven't heard this story told in full. Leave a comment below telling me which forgotten battle you want me to cover next. The past is full of shadows, and together we're shining a light on the stories others have left behind.